reveal my own great power. I'll sweep this whole foolish land, blasting defense plants everywhere.
What on earth? Is it a man or a walking dynamo?
Hey all you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here, and I'm back at the review studio. I am going to be taking a look at the brand new Marvel Select 7-inch scale Crimson Dynamo figure today. This figure from Diamond Select Toys was just recently released. Now this is a figure I've really been wanting to add to my collection ever since Diamond Select Toys announced it. It is my favorite version of the Crimson Dynamo armor. You know, Hasbro did their own version as a Build-A-Figure, but that armor is not really a favorite of mine. So this is the one that I really have wanted. Hasbro did a 4-inch Marvel Universe version, which was a pretty good figure, but has never given us the 6-inch version. Now, of course, this is a 7-inch scale figure, but being Crimson Dynamo is a bigger type character. I feel like, just like with the Titanium Man that Diamond Select Toys did, this will actually fit in pretty good with the Marvel Legend figure. So let's first take a look at the packaging, a quick look at the packaging, and then we'll take a look at the figure inside. Okay, so your typical Marvel Select type packaging here. The figure is clearly displayed. You've got the Crimson Dynamo logo down below. You also have the name of the character off to the side. It is that bookend type packaging, so if you want to put it on your shelf like a book, you can, and you've got the artwork for Crimson Dynamo. Not really artwork, it's just a picture of the figure. But again, you know, if you want to put it on your bookshelf, kind of like a book, that's what this packaging is intended for. And then on the back of the packaging, you again have a look at the figure with the various accessories and a little bio as well. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside the packaging along with all the other contents, and you do get a number of accessories with this figure. Okay, so let's start off taking a look at the unmasked head sculpt, which is the one that's attached to the figure outside of the packaging. So this is based on the Dmitry Bukharin character, who's probably the most notorious person to ever wear the Crimson Dynamo armor. There's been a number of people over the years in the comics who have donned this suit of armor, but Dmitry, who was an ex-KGB operative, you know, basically, you know, he did whatever it took to get the job done. He was very loyal to the Soviet Union government. He was kicked off the Soviet super soldier team when he basically blew up a cargo ship that Magneto was hiding out on during the time when Magneto was being brought to trial in the skirmish between the Avengers and the X-Men. So it was a limited series, and he essentially destroyed a cargo ship, which would have killed a lot of people if it wasn't for the Avengers, X-Men, and the Winter Guard that basically saved all the people on the ship. But anyway, this head sculpt, I gotta say, is gorgeous. Diamond Select Toys has done a fantastic job with it. So you've got the little bit of gray in the beard. Also has a scar on his right eyebrow. So, you know, just really nice detail. The skin tone is nice on this as well. I think that's a scar. It could be a paint chip, but it looks like a scar to me. So I'm going to go with that. But again, overall, I think they've done a fantastic job with this unhelmeted head sculpt. So, you know, I'm not even sure. I mean, this would still be a cool figure even if they didn't give us the unhelmeted head sculpt. But the fact that they did, and they did such a good job with it, is a real bonus for this figure, in my opinion. Now, the second head sculpt included with this figure, of course, is the helmet. And Diamond Select Toys again has kind of gone the extra mile on this figure, giving you two different face plates, well, three, but two different face plates featuring variations of the armor. So you've got this one that has basically the single eyepiece. I think that's what most of us tend to think of with this version of Crimson Dynamo. And you just basically pop it into place. If that's the look that you want to go with, it just kind of slides up in there. So again, you have that one, but then they also included this one, which has the actual eyepieces. So if you prefer this look for the character, again, they've given you that option. So it is definitely just nice that they did that, went that kind of extra mile. This armor has, changed over the years, many different versions, kind of like Iron Man. So, but it's cool that they gave us, in the comics, this particular armor had the two different looks with the eyepieces. So it's nice that they included that. Now you get a third faceplate that has the laser eye beams coming out of it. So this faceplate is essentially this one with a single eyepiece. But again, you've got the translucent red plastic laser I-beam effects sculpted onto it, so it looks like he's shooting lasers out of his eyes, if that is a look that you prefer. And here's the laser I-beam effect faceplate attached to the figure. And, if you've got him in attacking poses, this will probably work. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend using this one on the figure. But still, it's just a nice little added touch that they included along with the two other faceplates. Now the remaining accessories are all additional pairs of hands. So you have the closed-fisted hands that are attached to the figure when you take it out of the packaging. Then you have the open hands, grip hands. And then finally, to go with the laser firing faceplate, you have hands that are shooting out lasers or repulsors, again done with that same type of red translucent plastic. So again, just a nice added touch. Now looking at the rest of the figure, again, it's very nicely detailed. I will tell you, my one minor complaint with this figure is I do wish that they'd used a little bit brighter red color than this more kind of rustic red that they have on the figure. To me, this armor in the comics usually, again, had a kind of a brighter shade of red to it than what we see on this figure. So I don't think it looks bad. I'm just not sure I really consider this comic book accurate coloring, even though, again, it does look pretty good. So, like I say, minor complaint. And I won't even say that we didn't see it in the comics with this shade of red. To me, when I think of this armor, I think of a bit brighter shade of red to it than what we're seeing here with the figure. But otherwise, the sculpting detail is gorgeous on it. You've got these shoulder pads, which again is in keeping with this particular type of armor. And then just sculpting detail all throughout the figure. Same here with the wrist pieces, kind of matches the shoulder pieces. Nice sculpting detail with the muscle texture there on the back. Now you do have this hole on the back of the figure, and I'm not entirely sure what that's for, but you do have that there. But again, just overall really nice sculpting detail. And then again on the boots, that sculpting detail, that design that matches the shoulders and the wrists, and very much a signature look for the Crimson Dynamo. Going back to this hole on the back of the figure, so something I'd never really noticed before, but I am seeing that same type of hole on other Marvel Select figures. Now I don't collect a ton of Marvel Select figures. I usually just get the ones that kind of fit in with Marvel Legends, but you can see here on the Titanium Man, you've got a hole there. And then also on the Silver Centurion Marvel Select figure, again, you have that hole. So I don't know if there's supposed to be a purpose for those. If you know what the reason for the holes on the back of the figure are, feel free to let me know. I don't know if it's something on every single Marvel Select figure or just a few of them. But again, I don't know what the point of it is, but it does seem to be something fairly common on these figures. So this figure stands just under 8 inches tall. And then here's a comparison of the Titanium Man, the Marvel Select Titanium Man, which is another fantastic figure. I love this figure. You can see it is bigger than Crimson Dynamo, as it should be. If you haven't added this one to your collection and you can still find it in stores, I definitely recommend the Titanium Man. But definitely I think these two figures scale pretty good with one another. And then here's a look at the Marvel Select Silver Centurion Iron Man figure, and Crimson Dynamo is a bit taller, which again I think is pretty accurate to how it appeared in the comic books. Now here's a comparison with a 6-inch Marvel Legend figure from Hasbro, the Proton Cannon Iron Man figure. Not perfect scale, Iron Man is a little bit shorter than he should be, but I still think overall it works. Again, Crimson Dynamo is supposed to be a taller armored type figure, so even though it's not perfect, I do think it works if you want to use this Crimson Dynamo figure with your Marvel Legends. And then if you want to display your Crimson Dynamo with your Titanium Man and then the Marvel Legend Winter Guard figures, which is how I'm going to be displaying my Crimson Dynamo, this is how to look. And again, not perfect scale, but I think overall, both Titanium Man and Crimson Dynamo, the Marvel Select ones, work pretty good with these Marvel Legend figures. And then the final comparison I have for you guys is the Marvel Legend Build-A-Figure Crimson Dynamo. It's not that this is a bad looking figure, I just don't like this armor design. It is accurate to this particular version of the Crimson Dynamo. It's just not my preferred look for the character. So between these two, I definitely prefer the new Marvel Select one. Okay, now let's take a quick look at the articulation on this figure. So first of all, with the head, he can rotate all the way around and he can look down pretty good. He can look back only about that much. He really can't, at least with the helmeted head, he can't look back too much because of the way the helmet is sculpted. But overall, you get pretty good head movement with this one. You get pivot there at the neck joint, so it connects with the ball joint, but I think you get pretty good head movement overall there. Now with the arms, he can get the arm out straight. This shoulder piece is not attached to the arm. You can rotate this. This piece is separate, so it does move. So you can move it with the arm or move it separately. So you get pretty good rotation there. And as long as you have the shoulder piece positioned right, you can get the arms down at the side pretty good as well. So again, overall pretty good arm movement there. You don't get any kind of butterfly joints or anything, but that's okay, especially with a armored suited guy like this. You only get a single hinged elbow, so he does not get a whole lot of bending there at the elbow, but that doesn't bother me too much with a guy like this. You do have rotation there at the elbow. You have rotation with the hands. You do have the hinges on the hands, so you get up and down movement. Then you have a midsection joint. He really doesn't have an ab crunch, but you can rotate there at the midsection. You can pivot a little bit to the left and the right, but again, as far as ab crunch, you really can't crunch forward very much. He does have more back movement, so even though the head doesn't go back too much, you can have him look kind of upward with having the midsection pushed back. So you've got that. You don't have an actual waist swivel, you just have the swivel there at the midsection joint. Now with the legs, he can do the splits good. He can get his leg forward good. He can get his leg back good. You do have a thigh swivel on this one, so it attaches, the legs attach with ball joints, but then you do have an actual thigh swivel. You do not get double hinged knees, just single hinged knees. So again, with the bending, you can only bend about that much. You do get rotation there with the knees. And then with the ankles, you've got rotation. You do get ankle pivot. You get up and down movement. No toe articulation or anything, but overall pretty good ankle movement. And then 2 peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, I really liked this figure. Again, my one minor complaint is I would have liked a little brighter shade of red as opposed to this kind of rustic metal red, whatever you want to call it. The color of this Marvel Select one is, very much the same color as the Marvel Legend one. And again, with this particular armor, I feel like it should be just a little bit brighter red. But otherwise, I think this is a near perfect figure. The sculpting is great on it. The accessories are really nice. Articulation is pretty good. And for me, I think it fits in pretty well with my Marvel Legend figures, which is, again, how I'm going to display it with my Winter Guard team. So if you can get your hands on this figure, and last time I checked, it was still available at places like Big Bad Toy Store. I believe Amazon has it in stock now as well. I do highly recommend that you check this one out. Now, as always, feel free to leave your own thoughts about the figure down in the comment section below. Like this video if you're so inclined. I'd really appreciate it. If you'd like to support the channel, you can become an Action Figure Enthusiast channel member, and there's a link to how you can do that in the video description below. Also, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. As always, guys, stay safe out there, and until next time, I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching today's video. Now, if you're new to the channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button. Also, hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. For all the latest action figure news, be sure to head over to toynewseye.com, marvelousnews.com, JediInsider.com, and tformers.com. And remember, action figures are great,